So everyone's favourite lovable gamer musician Post Malone has returned with his new album, Austin. And as well you might have guessed, the self-titled album Austin Richard Post being Post Malone's real name for those of you who weren't aware, the album certainly does feel incredibly personal and almost confessional in some circumstances. I've always loved Post Malone, and his personality shines through his interviews, especially in this interaction of him in a guitar shop, showing his love for guitars and respect for rock as a genre and an inspiration. Admittedly though, it was a bit confusing when I saw him live and people were mosh pitting to I Fall Apart, but still, I applaud the effort. And he holds a sacred place in my heart with memories of consuming some alcoholic beverages while listening to Hollywood's Burning on my birthday, staring at a lovely blue sky, then going for dinner and proceeding to chat absolute madness to my family about the new Post Malone album, when they couldn't have cared less. Only to then have to re-listen to it again after forgetting exactly what it sounds like from getting too drunk upon my initial listen. Good times. And who could forget the charity livestream he did performing Nirvana tracks in a dress as a nod of respect towards Kurt Cobain. And as always in this interview with Zane Lowe, Posty spoke a lot about how his relationship with alcohol, drugs, aliens, and his romantic relationships, all whilst having a child, has drastically changed and improved a lot of his outlook on life. With Zayn also noting how it felt like he'd been waiting for Posty to make this album the entire time he'd been around, of a heavy guitar-oriented record, and personally, I agree. Overall, this record being mostly written on guitar and having a lot of acoustic guitar-based songs throughout really did feel like a homecoming for Posty, and the title of Austin feels incredibly fitting. There's also a blend of his normal style tunes which feel a tad more peeled back, but they're still apparent on the record, with Morning taking the crown for the tune that sounds like the majority of his original discography, alongside a few others that have echoes of that previous style with tracks such as Texas Tea. But the main aim of the album is felt overwhelmingly and becomes almost in your face the longer the album progresses, with songs such as Don't Understand, Chemical, Enough Is Enough, Overdrive, Buyer Beware, Landmine, Laugh It Off and Green Thumb, all featuring a lot of acoustic guitar, and progressing in the same style to which a lot of music written on guitar does so. Green Thumb is especially excellent and very endearing song that I really enjoyed. This somewhat reminded me of Post Malone trying to write Blackbird by the Beatles, or a sense of Pink Floyd meets Harry Styles, which is a mashup I never expected to experience in my life, but I more than enjoyed it. And speaking of Pink Floyd, a lot of the style of the acoustic playing and tone really does remind me of those acoustic instrumentals you hear on The Wall by Pink Floyd, but kicks into 2023 with a bit more production, deeper bass, a sprinkling of country music, and a helping of face tattoos. I also think the culmination of the album, ending with Laugh It Off, felt fairly fitting, in a somewhat Kings of Leon-esque instrumental finale, blasting out what emotion was left, and gaining, well, the last laugh, I suppose. And generally speaking, through Austin, you can really feel the prevalence of the style in which he's both written and perform the album. And for me, it seems far more comfortable for him to release this type of album compared to his previous ones, even if it is arguable that the quality on his initial two albums was slightly higher. But I'd assume if he kept going with this style, then the quality would increase too. But despite saying that, I still really like this album, and there is good quality on it. And I think a lot of the hate towards what has come from this album is from fans who are a bit disappointed by the stylistic change-up. A style to which, though, has always been there and has always been on his previous albums in songs such as Stay, I Fall Apart, Up There and Circles. I also think the album becomes a lot more understandable after hearing him speak to Zane Lowe, where lyrics speaking about over-partying and overindulging in both alcohol and romantic relationships feel taken with a more mature perspective and a hindsight on considering your own past actions to grow, and probably reflecting a move away from the previous genre he had based himself in, which isn't a bad thing. And personally, I'd be happy if Posty continued to pursue future albums down this avenue, although I would love for him to release a full rock record, from those previous hints we've seen in songs such as Take What You Want From Me, featuring Ozzy Osbourne, or even The Last Laugh on Austin. But personally, I still think overall this album felt like it really needed to be done and almost got on off Post Malone's chest for the sake of reflection and progression in his personal and professional life, just to state how much he's developed from those initial few albums. And although he's still the same Post Malone we all love, he's come a long way and changed a lot too. But mostly, I'm happy our champion gamer boy is back on the scene and seeming happier and healthier than ever. But such a quality, earnest album, and I can only applaud the honesty from Posty. Good for you, Post Malone. Good for you. Do let me know what you thought of this album in the comments, and if you're happy Post Malone has finally decided to pursue this style of album, or if you preferred his earlier work. As always, feel free to like and subscribe if you're new here. And on that note, I think I'll say ta-ra for now, and I'll see you later.